Alright, this is module 13, purchasing power parity theorem. Okay, purchasing power parity is a concept that I learned way before even joining CA. I think I learned it in 9th or 10th. Yeah, this was one of the most interesting things that I ever learned. But this is the concept in AFM is very different from what I learned. Okay, so what I learned was people living. Okay, little bit of story time. So what I learned was people living in India and people living in US. If I have an income of around 30 lakhs per annum or 40 lakhs per annum here, and if I have an income of the same amount there, that 30-40 lakhs here is going to be a really good salary, whereas there it is barely above the minimum wage or something like that. Because if I'm earning 30-40 lakhs here, I can have a nice car, rent a really good home, I can hire house help. But if I want the same level of life in US, I would have to earn a lot more. So that's what I understood from it earlier. But here it is a bit different. It is more into the theoretical side of the theorem. In practical life, purchasing power parity just means what would be the equivalent income in different countries. Basically, that's what I have learned. But here it's a little different. Law of one price. So let's get into it. Law of one price. Uh, what law of one price says is, if I'm buying, for example, this laptop, if I'm buying this laptop in India or if I'm buying this laptop in US, it should be of the same price. So for example, if this laptop is 100,000, sorry, if that laptop is $1,000, laptop is equal to $1,000, and it is also equal to 80,000 rupees if I am buying it in India, then theoretically the price should be $1 is equal to rupees 80, because it shouldn't matter where I'm buying the laptop, but it should uh, it should be the same value in both the places. Basically, if I'm getting this laptop for $1,000 and this same laptop for $80,000, that 80,000 and $1,000 should be same. But that won't work if, for example, I am buying this laptop in India and I'm buying this laptop in US. They have to be the same thing. So this will have a different value, this will have a different value. I cannot compare both of these. For example, they say you can't compare apples with oranges. That's the same thing. If the same commodity, the exact same thing, has two different price quotations, the buyer should be indifferent where he buys it. That is what law of one price says. Now, for example, okay, now moving on to determination of theoretical forward rate. Now let's assume in US the inflation rate is 6%, whereas in India it is 10%. So what that means is, after 1 year, the same laptop, will be equal to $1,060, whereas here it will be 88,000 rupees. What the purchasing power parity theorem says is, even though the inflation rates are different, the consumer must still be indifferent as to where he purchases the commodity. Basically, this should be equal to this. So if we divide this by 10, this we will get again, I guess, 83.02 rupees. So that would be the 1 year forward rate, theoretical forward rate, according to the purchasing power parity theorem. This is quite similar to the previous module, which was interest rate parity theorem, IRPT. It's practically the same application. The formula is also same. The formula is 1 plus R H by 1 plus R F is equal to F by S. So yeah, if you substitute, you will get the same answer. So that's it. I hope this gives a really conceptual understanding of the concept. Practical application is really simple.